Hello everyone, this is Logan59XP here, and that's right, I'm back. There's actually a bit of a story to tell with what happened recently with my little trip that I talked about on the community page, because that whole thing, for those of you that haven't seen it, I actually was on a trip recently from the 2nd to the 7th, but if you had read the community post, you will have seen that I talked about, oh yeah, we're gonna go to this place that doesn't really have internet or whatever. Yeah, that didn't end up working out. That place we went to, we were there for like a day, and then we were like, yeah, this isn't going to work out for 5 whole days for a variety of factors, including heat and the fact that the park we were staying at only would let you run the generator like a couple of times a day, and also there was no hookups, and then there was there was a variety of things. So we ultimately ended up scrapping that, and we ended up going somewhere else that did have internet, that did have hookups, and it was a lot nicer. So just as a bit of a heads up that I actually was not off the grid for the last 5 or so days like I thought I was. I thought that was what was going to happen when I made that post originally, but yeah. But the point is, though, long story short is we're back, and I didn't miss anything. There was no direct, not that I was expecting it, but yeah, so anyways. So yeah, oh man, I am starting this stream a little late. You will notice that the thumbnail is all like wrong. It's because I'm doing this all like last second, so I'm gonna actually update the thumbnail. Yeah, there's the thumbnail. I'm actually gonna update the thumbnail on the side here so it actually fits correctly because it's not cropped right. Oh man. But yeah, so I was actually thinking of doing a Xbox predictions discussion like I did last year, but I ultimately didn't really feel like it. You know, just getting back from the trip, and also like there's not as much stuff for me to talk about this time around as there was last year. Because last year going in, we had like Persona 3 Reload and Persona 5 Tactica leaked beforehand, and then we had, there's stuff like that for me to really talk about, among other things. But I don't have a ton. I didn't think I had enough to talk about to justify like a whole discussion on it. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure if I sat here and thought long enough, I could tell you, oh, here's some things I expect to see or things I want to see. But the only thing I'm really expecting, what am I expecting to see from this? I'm not really sure. Again, I'm kind of all thrown off because of the trip lately, so I haven't really had time to really think about this kind of stuff. But anyways, so they're showing Call of Duty right now, I think. Which is odd because I thought they were going to show Call of Duty later in the stream. Ah, why's it got to open up everything on this screen?
Set in the 1990s after the Cold War.
Okay, so yeah, it's been skipping around a little. Again, apologies for how kind of slapdash this is. I apologize. I'm kind of just throwing this stream together at the last second here. I don't have everything set up right.
After the showcase, where we will take you inside the
But yeah, so there's Phil's good old Phil. We actually haven't seen him in a while in terms of like main Xbox events. I think the last couple of Xbox events were primarily like Sarah Bond and Matt Booty. But it's cool to actually see Phil on screen. It's more than I can say for a certain other gaming company's CEO that refuses to make a single public appearance and therefore has no memorability factor, and therefore when he inevitably leaves or dies or retires or whatever, no one's going to actually care because he has done absolutely nothing to cement himself in the public consciousness in any way, shape, or form. Yes, I'm going to keep harping on that because it's something that does genuinely bug me. But that's a whole other conversation.
That community by making Black Ops 6 the first Call of Duty game that will be available in Game Pass day one.
So yeah, I know there was obviously a lot of talk about will Call of Duty go into Game Pass because of the FTC thing and because of this and because of that. You know, oh, will it cause them to increase the price of Game Pass? Will it be a separate tier? Well, now it's just, nope. I mean, we already knew this. This is not a new announcement. They announced this a few days ago online. But yeah, so it's cool that's going to just be in Game Pass. It's not going to be its own tier like some people were thinking. It's just going to be in regular plain old Game Pass. So that's cool. Although I am curious when we're going to see the old games come in. So yeah, all the studios, of course, they now own.
Is some of their best work ever. And And now I get to introduce something that is special to me. As someone who has played games for as long as I have, it's amazing that I get to set up this world premiere. So thank you all for joining.
Okay, there is one game that may be here that I don't think is going to be here, but has a chance of showing up. I don't think it's going to be the first thing they show, though, if it is here. Yeah, it's Bethesda. Okay. They did this last time around, too, where, like, whenever Bethesda showed something, they would say Bethesda or whatever, or Xbox Game Studios presents, like, just to, like, set up what exactly it is. So, yeah, what is this? Oh, this is the Doom game. This is the Doom, the Dark Ages or whatever that was leaked. This is like that's what this is. Absolutely. Yeah, yep. This is Doom. Well, hey, I'm totally down for a new Doom game. I still haven't played the Eternal DLC, but I did finish Eternal earlier this year finally. I think I like 2016 more, but Eternal's still good, obviously. I need to get around to playing the DLC at some point, but it's nice that we got a new game coming. I'll definitely be playing this, for sure. Now, one question I think people are going to have coming out of this event is how many of these games are going to be on PlayStation? Because, of course, I mean, it goes without saying that Xbox this year has had some controversy, to put it lightly, for sure. And, of course, one of those things was the whole thing from the beginning of the year where people were like, are they going third party? Are they going third party? And they're not, but they are putting some games on PlayStation. So people have been wondering, how far is that going to go? Okay, so it's just they don't mention PlayStation. I mean, it could come to PlayStation later, obviously, but it's not coming to PlayStation at least on day one. Xbox Game Studios. What was I going with this? Because obviously the event's going to keep moving as I'm talking here, so I'm trying to like. What was I gonna say? Is this State of Decay?
Who did you love?
State of Decay was announced years ago. Oh yeah, this is State of Decay. Yeah, this game was announced at like the 2020 showcase. We haven't seen it in like 4 years.
It's too late to ask now.
I wonder if we're gonna see Perfect Dark. Perfect Dark was announced like 3 years ago.
Ventured out beyond the gates.
Like 3.5 years ago. I think it was announced at the Game Awards 2020, if I remember correctly. And we haven't seen anything on it since. There's been a lot of stuff behind the scenes with the initiative and, you know, going through a bunch of stuff. And then, of course, Crystal Dynamics was bought by Embracer Group and all that stuff, but they're still going to be working on it or something. I don't know. It's a whole thing. I don't know. But anyways, yeah, but people were worried, not worried, well, some people were worried, but people were wondering, you know, because obviously when they did that whole Xbox podcast, business podcast, that was like, hey, we're going to be putting some of these games on PlayStation and Switch, and basically we'll see how it goes. That's pretty much what they said was, we'll see how it goes, you know, maybe we'll do more. Maybe we won't, but it depends on how well the games do. Now, they didn't literally say that, obviously. They worded it as, like, best as they could to not make it sound like they were just going to go third party. And I don't necessarily think that they will go full third party, at least not anytime soon. I mean, we already know they're going to be doing another console. So the whole, is Xbox leaving the console market? No, they're not. They already confirmed it in that presentation that there will indeed be another Xbox. Now, their whole claim of it's going to be the biggest leap in gaming, or whatever the heck they said, the biggest technological leap in a generation, that whole thing, I think everyone's very much not believing. Because how can they possibly, like, we're at that point now where, like, you know, how much better can it really get? I mean, of course, it's always going to get better. And I'm all for that. I'm all for technological progress. I'm all for better graphics and better whatever. but it can only, but like, how much noticeably better can it really get? That's kind of been the conundrum, is that like the law of diminishing returns is hit in, you know? The last like really, really big jump was probably PS2 to PS3, you know, original Xbox to 360, and of course later on Wii to Wii U. That was kind of the last really big wow moment, like really big wow moment of like, wow, look how much better it looks. PS3 to PS4 and 360 Xbox One were definitely a leap. I'm not discounting that, don't get me wrong. The PS4 and Xbox One are solidly better looking than the 360 and PS3, no doubt about it. But it's not as big of a leap as it was the time before that, and of course it's way smaller now with the Xbox One, the Series X and S, and PS4 to PS5. Again, better looking, but not dramatically better looking, you know. So this is Dragon Age. This game has been in development hell for a while, I think. What other... Actually, there's a couple... This is not a Microsoft game, obviously. But in terms of games that are, like, in development hell, that are from Microsoft, I mean, yeah, State of Decay, we hadn't seen in a long, long time. And there's the Initiative's Perfect Dark reboot. That's another one that's kind of in development hell right now. Then I think there's... Oh, yeah, Everwild. If you remember Everwild, that's the Rare game that they announced like way back in like 2019. Yeah, we haven't seen anything on it since. Am I saying it's canceled? No, I don't think it's canceled. But we have not seen it in a long time. There's a couple of games we haven't seen in a long time from them. Does Sony have any long games we haven't seen in a long time? I mean, it used to be The Last Guardian, right? Like, back in the day, The Last Guardian was the game that they announced in, like, 2008, 2009, and then we didn't see it again until 2015. But I don't think since then they've had a game that's been like, we haven't seen this in forever. And then, of course, Nintendo has Prime 4, which was announced way back in 2017, and we haven't seen anything on it, like, at all. Like, we just got the announcement in 2019 that the game was going to be rebooted with Retro Studios as opposed to Bandai Namco. I mean, Bandai Namco was never officially confirmed to be the original developer, but everyone pretty much agrees that that was who the original developer was going to be. Most likely, Bandai Namco's, like, Malaysia or Singapore division, I believe, but I could be wrong about that. But, yeah, so Microsoft has got a couple of development hell games, and then Nintendo has one development hell game in Prime 4, which has actually been in development hell longer than the others. Because if we go all the way back to 2017, you know, it depends on where you want to count it, like 2019, 2017, because, of course, the game was announced in 2017, but they rebooted the entire game from scratch in 2019. So effectively, from a development perspective, it's been development for 5 years, not 7 years. But either way, 5 years is still a long time. It's kind of ridiculous that we haven't seen it at all. Okay, this is a Starfield update. I don't know if they said Bethesda Presents or whatever before, but this is a Starfield update, obviously. Oh no, not an update, the first DLC. What was it called? Shattered Space or something? Like, I think that's probably what this is. The first, like, big, like, DLC. This is Starfield, right? Yes, it is. It is Starfield. 60 FPS trailer, too. Which is nice. Because obviously when the game came out in the Series X, there was all that controversy about it being only 30 FPS or whatever. And then, of course, we got a 60 FPS update not too long ago, so it all worked out. Yeah. By the way, I still haven't played the Thousand Year Door remake yet. I don't even have it yet because of the whole thing. Well, one, because of the trip, but also because that whole weird thing that happened with Amazon where, like, they canceled stuff and whatever. Like, that whole thing kind of threw off my entire plan because I was going to buy the game with Amazon gift card stuff that I got from Microsoft Rewards. So it has to be through Amazon, basically. And there's been this whole weird thing where, like, you can buy it on Amazon, but it's, like, not officially through them, and there's not that many... It's, like, really weird what's going on with the Amazon listing of that game out. I'm gonna get it eventually. It's a 1,000-Year Door. It's obviously a classic. I'm gonna get it at some point. I'm obviously not in a rush to it though. Yeah, it's just Shattered Space. Yeah, that was what the first DLC was called. There is a part of me that wants to wait until the Switch 2 is out in order to play it, just in case they do that 60 FPS update that we're all hoping is gonna be a thing. I mean, we saw in the parameters in the code they had stuff for like 4K, for what that's worth. I mean, that could have just been there for dev purposes, but you never know. Okay, so Creation Club coming to Starfield, I assume is what this is. Yeah, the Creation Club, Creation Kit, and then yeah, the DLC coming later. Okay, another Bethesda thing. If I remember correctly from the FTC leak, wasn't there like a Fallout 3 remaster in there?
Sponsored in part by Sugar Bombs Breakfast Cereal. Bombs away. Folks, if you're just joining us, we're coming to you live in the 10th consecutive hour of our Vault-a-thon 76 drive. We've got operators standing by and
Speaking of Fallout,
like we've got one.
this is probably just going to be a Fallout 76 update, but we know that a Fallout 3 remaster is coming because it was in the FTC leak.
Right in the heart of Shannon.
So this could be that. But it's probably just the next Fallout 76 update.
Call now to join Harry and the over 17 million Vault dwellers already on board. And let's keep those
Yeah, this is totally Fallout 76. I like how whenever they do Fallout trailers, they always go for like this old school look, you know, 4x3, film grain, black and white.
Pine Valley neighbors in Vault 63. The greatest scientific minds are hard at work, cooking up shocking new ways to protect and preserve.
Did Fallout 76 ever do like a crossover thing with the show?
Portrait of Mother Nature in repose.
I know they put out the Fallout 4 like update, like the next gen update around the same time. But did they ever do like a direct, like in Fallout 76, did they ever do like a, hey, get like this from the show in Fallout 76? Or something like that.
Don't come a knocking. Call now to reserve your place in
I like how they have the text moves because, you know, it's like the weaving of old film.
Well, I suppose having skin is not for everyone. Best of luck out there.
So yeah, they're doing a lot of Bethesda stuff right now.
World premiere.
Ah, yes, they brought back the world premiere voice. You gotta have the world premiere voice. It's iconic. Xbox exclusive world premiere.
Soon she'll wake. And pain.
So in terms of games that have a chance at being here, I don't think it's gonna be here. I think it's still a little too soon. But obviously the last couple of shows they've had Atlas stuff here. You know, we had the Persona 3, 4, and 5 re-releases and remasters in the 2022 showcase, and then we had Persona 3 Reload, Persona 5 Tactica, and Metaphor Refantazio in the 2023 showcase. So you would assume that in this showcase we're gonna get maybe, well, I would say we'd get a new trailer for Metaphor, but we got a new trailer at Summer Games Fest. Oh yeah, by the way, I didn't stream Summer Games Fest. Sorry for that. It wasn't the most important thing in the world I needed to stream, but I definitely would have liked to stream it just for the heck of it. Actually, we were on the way home as that was happening, so while I was sitting there in the RV, I was just watching on my phone for like pretty much the entire time we were driving home from where we were staying at that point. So yeah, obviously I couldn't have streamed it, but yeah. But again, since the place we ended up at eventually was a place that actually had internet, if it happened like the day before, I totally could have streamed it using like hotspot data and stuff. I could have made that work probably, but hey, it all worked out, you know, in the end. You know, nothing big really happened while we were there. It was only really Summer Games Fest at the very, very end as we were on the way home that actually happened. And obviously I would have liked to have streamed that, but it is what it is. Anyways, back to what I was saying. Yeah, so they had Metaphor at Summer Games Fest, and they also put out a new trailer for The Answer recently. But could they have the big one here? Because I think there's a chance, low. I think that they want to put all the emphasis on Metaphor. I don't think they want to steal away the spotlight from that. But technically speaking, I know that there was a leaked logo for a certain Persona 6 not too long ago. It was like a beta logo, which, a spoiler alert, was green. So the color is going to be green, which is which I think is pretty much what everyone was kind of expecting, I would say. I know there were talks of the color being white, but I'm definitely glad it's green and not white. I mean, I'm sure we'll get white at some point, but obviously, you know, we have blue, red, and yellow already, so we may as well get that last big, you know, primary color as well.
I ain't have a disposition to be gator sacks.
Well, me neither.
If we're gonna go on, we gotta get rid of him.
I'm all ears.
There's a church up a ways with a big bell. Go on and ring it.
You want to make him come running?
Tom can't abide the sound of bell. Some church folks once tried to dynamite him.
But anyways, I mean, it's there's been talk of Persona 6 stuff, but I don't think it's gonna be here. I mean, if it's gonna be anywhere, it'll be at this showcase, because Atlus reveals all their stuff at Xbox events now, which is funny. If you had told people that a few years ago, they would have called you crazy, but that's the world we live in, where Atlus stuff is, they're not announced in concerts anymore. They're not, hey look, actual gameplay. They're not announced at they're not announced at concerts, they're not announced in state of plays, they're not announced in their own thing. Now they're announced in Xbox events. At least like the big ones are in Xbox events now, because they have the marketing deal with them, with Microsoft, for not all of their games, but a good amount of them being on Game Pass. Metaphor I do not think is going to be on Game Pass, but all of the Persona stuff has been on Game Pass so far. But yeah, I don't think they want to steal the thunder away from Metaphor. And also, SMT 5 Vengeance is coming out soon, so... You know, those are, you know, Atlus already has a good 2024 lineup, right? We had Persona 3 Reload earlier this year. We're going to get SMT Vengeance on all platforms soon. And then we're going to have The Answer in September, and then we're going to have Metaphor, I think, in October or November. So Atlus has already got a good 2024 lineup. They don't need to announce Persona 6, because it's obviously not going to come out this year. That game isn't coming out until, like, late 2025 at the earliest. You know, that game's not coming out anytime soon. It's not going to be, like, 6 years away or whatever. You know, but, like, I do think that when they announce it, it'll be, like, the year after. Like if it is at the showcase... If it is at the showcase, somehow, even though I really doubt it, it will be a 2025 release. Or at least they will announce it for 2025. And then maybe it'll get delayed to 2026. But I think that they've learned their lesson from the whole winter 2014 debacle with original Persona 5 back in the day. Where, like, they announced the game, like, and, like, they just could not hit that release date. I think they learned their lesson from that. Now they don't really announce games that early in advance anymore. I mean, when they reintroduced Metaphor, they said next year. They didn't say coming eventually, they said next year, and it is coming out what is now this year, you know? So... I don't know. It's not gonna be here. They don't want to take the shine away from Metaphor. Anyways, yeah, this game was announced, I think, at the last Xbox event. 2025? And it's kind of got that, you know, Spider-Verse style, like, choppy animation. Even though the game is nothing like that, but the art style does kind of look like it, a little bit. Like, obviously not the flashy colors, but, like, in some other aspects, like the character rendering. Okay, Blizzard, okay. Some kind of, maybe like WoW update or Overwatch or something. Oh, this is probably Diablo. This is definitely Diablo.
and dreams.
No, it is not Diablo. This is World of Warcraft.
Mortal heroes have risen to defend her. They faced monsters.
Wasn't that first character they showed, wasn't that literally like the character from the South Park episode?
Primordial horror.
Still around all these years later, I guess. I've never played WoW, so I'm only, but I do recognize some of those characters. I'm like, oh yep, that's definitely WoW.
Following them to the most distant shores. And even across time.
But yeah, I don't know, I guess in terms of stuff I'd want to see at this event, I guess yeah, Persona 6 would be kind of cool. Even though one, it's definitely not going to be here for the reasons I've already mentioned, and two, even if it is here, it's going to just be the Chairs trailer all over again. It's just going to be tell us the color, vague quote about what the game represents, and then it's going to be Persona 6 logo with a green background, and then it's going to be like coming 2025, 2026, whatever, or now in development or whatever. Well, okay, it's not going to be now in development. We know that they've been working on it for a while. They've mentioned Persona 6 before. Like, not by name, I believe, but they've said that, oh, we're working on the next Persona game. They've mentioned that, like, for a while now, so it wouldn't be a now in development type thing. It would be like a 2025, 2026 kind of thing.
Once again.
Actually, you want to know something that would be cool to see here? FF7 Part 1 for Xbox announced. It's been more than long enough. Like, obviously Rebirth isn't coming out on Xbox anytime soon. And by the way, I still haven't played Rebirth, even though I literally have it. It's sitting on my shelf. I still haven't played it yet. But that's because I still have a big... I think I've mentioned this before, but you want to know another reason why I don't have the 1,000 Year Door yet? It's because I still have a big backlog of games I need to finish. Yeah, the new expansion for WoW. I still have I still have to work on Spider-Man 2. I still have to do FF7. I still have to do Wonder and Mario RPG and Persona 3 Reload. I still haven't played yet. Like, I got tons of stuff I can play. Konami. Okay. This is not going to be Silent Hill 2 because we already saw Silent Hill 2 in some of the recent events. This is going to be something else. My guess is Metal Gear something. Oh yeah, oh, this is the remake. I'm an idiot. This is the remake of Metal Gear Solid 3, which I think they're calling Delta.
This will be a sneaking mission. You must not be seen by the enemy.
I kind of forgot this was coming out, even though it's supposed to be like a big deal.
This kind of infiltration is the Fox Unit's specialty. In other words, weapons and equipment to procure on site. That goes for food as well. You're completely naked, just as your name implies.
I have to find my own weapons and equipment? Whose crazy idea was this anyway?
The mission rests
Is that David Hayter?
in your hands.
I actually don't know if he's going to be in this, because I know he wasn't in, what game was he not in? Was it Metal Gear Solid 5 that he wasn't in? What game wasn't he in? There was a game he wasn't in. I think it was Metal Gear Solid 5. But he's been like all the others, and of course he's in Smash. Or are they reusing voice lines from the original game? That might also be what this is. But I don't know. I haven't played the original, so I can't speak to that.
Commencing virtuous mission now.
That sounds like David Hayter. I think. It does sound like him to me, but I could be wrong. Maybe it's just a good impersonation. Okay, Xbox Game Studios. Sea of Thieves? Yeah, this is totally Sea of Thieves. Which, of course, came out on PS5 not too long ago. So, yeah, it was Hi-Fi Rush, Grounded, Pentiment, and Sea of Thieves. Those were the 4 games that came out on PlayStation and Switch. Well, okay, Hi-Fi Rush is not out on the Switch yet, even though there's been rumors about it. And obviously, at this point, a Switch version would be kind of weird and awkward because of the whole thing that happened with Tango Gameworks. So it's like, who would be making it? Maybe it's something that they already had made before they were shut down, or maybe it's being made by like Panic Button or something. I don't know. Season 13, the game's been around that long. Well, then again, it came out in 2018, so I guess it's not that surprising.
Your kind meddled where you shouldn't. As long as Ooh is free, your world is in mortal peril.
And how is it that you know all of this?
Because I am a god too.
If you're a god, you're one of them. Why would I do anything to help someone I've sworn to kill?
If it's vengeance you want, I'll give it to you.
This music, this classic music. So supposedly there's supposed to be some like Gears collection. I think this was like a rumor last June that still hasn't happened yet. And then there was the recent thing of like a Halo Combat Evolved remaster, like a new one, not the one from 2011, but like a new one. Yeah, a new one's supposed to come out on like all consoles or something. I don't know. Age of Mythology, I think. It's definitely Age of something. It's one of those games. I want to say Age of Mythology.
Of the Greeks and the Norse.
The Egyptians and the Atlanteans.
We created mankind to fight for our glory. So rise and wield my wrath. Command beastly chaos.
Rain down destruction.
And unleash our fury. Worship me. Claim my power.
And legend.
I don't know why it doesn't want to open. I'll just manually get it to do it, I guess. Yeah, Age of Mythology. There's a lot of Xbox Game Studios stuff here, which is good. That's what people want to see, obviously.
Your target is in possession of a radioactive device. Stop Carrington's attack at all costs. Good luck
Now, what game could this be?
I always knew I had an instinct. I could see the world differently. I thought it would be like any other mission. I was wrong.
Okay, so here's Perfect Dark. So they actually are going to show it. I had a feeling, I had a guess. It's 60 FPS. Trailer 60 FPS. But hold on a second. And this is probably nothing. This is probably just a design thing. There's no way that they would actually show this in an Xbox presentation, but look at that D-pad in the corner of the UI. That is a PlayStation D-pad. Does that mean anything? No. It's probably absolutely nothing. This is probably captured on either Series X or PC, maybe. But it's just kind of interesting that, like, there's a PlayStation D-pad. But yeah, 60 FPS, though. And it looks pretty sharp, too. Obviously, I'm watching this at 4K. But it looks genuinely pretty sharp. This doesn't look like it's, you know, one of those games that's like, you know, 720p upscaled to 4K with FSR 2 or whatever that like some games have done. Like this looks like a proper good resolution. I mean, is it native 4K? No, but there's no way it is. But it's definitely like 1440p at least. Like it looks pretty good in the 60 FPS mode. There might be a 30 FPS mode as well, but it looks pretty good. You know, good resolution at 60 FPS, which is what you want, right? That's what people want to see. Now, whether or not people are going to like the game or not, we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully it's good. I've never played any of the Perfect Darks, so I don't really have an opinion. But, you know, it's a... Well, is it a classic Rare franchise? I mean, it's been around a long time, I suppose, so I guess it's a classic Rare franchise. It's not being made by Rare, obviously. It's being made by the Initiative and Crystal Dynamics, but this is a old Rare IP. It's not as classic or beloved as, you know, your Banjos or your Conkers or your GoldenEyes even. But it's been around since the N64. But there's only been 2 games, the original on N64 and then Perfect Dark Zero as a launch title for the Xbox 360. Got a new logo. It doesn't look as good as the last logo, if I'm being honest, but... Oh, no, release date. Well, they had gameplay, like real gameplay, so it's probably going to be a 2025 game. Oh, never mind, they're going to tell us now. Matt Booty. I think the last logo looked better. The last logo they had at the Game Awards was a lot more, similar to the original logo. But who knows, maybe the logo will change again. Whoops, sorry. I'm just making sure the thumbnail on that looks correct and doesn't have the white bars at the top and bottom.
They are building a diverse lineup of titles, which includes new installments in beloved franchises like Doom, The Dark Ages from id Software, updates and expansions to our ongoing games like World of Warcraft, The War Within from Blizzard, handcrafted original concepts like South of Midnight from Compulsion Games, and blockbuster games with massive audiences like Call of Duty, Black Ops 6 from Activision. On behalf of our creative teams at
So wait, did they give a release date for Perfect Dark? I wasn't paying attention. Because we didn't get a release date, but we got actual gameplay, so it's probably not that far away. It's probably 2025, like probably like spring 2025 would be my guess.
Diablo is one of the most enduring and beloved series in
Okay, so here's Diablo 4.
We're thrilled to have Diablo 4.
I wonder if we're gonna see that new Spyro game. It's probably a bit too soon because Toys for Bob split off from Activision and now Microsoft. But they're gonna be making a new Spyro game. But it's probably too early to see it. I've never played a Spyro game myself, but obviously I've heard they're good.
In the
So you know, there's a new Spyro game. You know, it's gonna be on Game Pass, obviously. So I'd probably give it a shot whenever it comes out. But I'm not dying to see one, obviously, because I've never played one before, and therefore I have no real attachment to it. Viewer discretion is advised. I've noticed for a couple of these trailers, they have the little cinematics disclaimer at the bottom. Which, I mean, I guess it's a good thing. But at the same time, it's also like, I mean, obviously it's a cinematic. I mean, just look at it. It's also 21:9, which is another indication that it's a cinematic.
Please, my child, let me help you.
Stay away from me! Neyrelle! Is that how I raised you? No, Mother. But I must carry this burden alone. I must get to Akarat's tomb.
Hold on. Apologies for the random screens here, but I'm trying to update the thing.
I don't know how much longer I can.
See, I need to update that thumbnail to look correct. Do we know how long this is going to be? I think it's supposed to be 2 hours. I could be wrong about that. I think it's supposed to be 2. And most of the Xbox events are like 2 hours or around 2 hours. So it's probably 2 hours.
No. Of course it's you.
Yeah, let me go and fix that dang thumbnail. It looks all wrong. Let's replace it with the one that looks correct. There we go. Maybe now people will actually show up because the thumbnail is correct. Yeah, apologies for the thumbnail being all wrong because I couldn't crop it right because I'm trying to rush this out the door, to be honest. Oh, man. Yeah, now it should be all correct and good. So now we're good. Now we're good.
No! I control the stone!
You hold the stone. You control nothing.
Maybe you're right. Maybe I could use some help.
Let me see if it's 2 hours. I think it's supposed to be 2 hours. That was a pretty long cinematic, I'd say. Is it 2 hours? Xbox Game Studios.
Oh, right. You.
Fable.
So, you want to know all about heroes?
I forgot about Fable.
Well, you have come to the right place. Because who better to tell you all about them than perhaps the greatest hero of them all? Yeah? There he is, in all his finery. Cheers.
Retired.
I mean, sure, you get your mega fans,
You are like literally my favourite person.
your haters,
It's like a fan club, but we hate you.
your chancers, and the occasional giant toad. more than that.
I cannot find a length for this event.
I'm a hero. I should do what I want.
We thought you could save her.
You know, it's your life and death stuff. That's what defines you, doesn't it? Really, stays with you. I knew this one hero.
My guess is it's 2 hours. My guess is it's 2 hours.
Welcome to the most exclusive club in all of Albion. Thought I'd get her out there, make the most of her gift. But, you know what it's like when you're young and you have a point to prove. I tell you, this kid, she had it all. The skill, the talent, the power. She was something else, alright.
So I think they said this was in-game footage, but this is not like gameplay. It's like in-engine type stuff, which I think is what they said last time when they showed off this game. Said it was in-engine.
Humphrey. She's back.
I've never been the kind of person to be all, boo cinematics, boo whatever, because the fact of the matter is, when cinematics are done well, people like them. Case in point, the Smash trailers are all, well, mostly CG, and we all love the Smash trailers, so the problem is not boo cinematics, it's just, I don't know, I guess it just depends on the game, maybe, I don't know. Never really been the... I mean, obviously I prefer gameplay over a cinematic, but there are cases where the cinematics are really nice to have, like with Smash. Okay, world premiere. I don't know if we got a release date for that or not, by the way. I wasn't paying attention.
Use this. Make your own rules.
It's my turn.
You know, it'd be kind of funny if this was a Deadlock. It's obviously not, because it wouldn't be at a Microsoft event. It'd be kind of funny if that's what this was. I don't know, it's probably not that at all. It's probably just some completely new game I've never... Because isn't Valve supposed to be making some kind of hero shooter or something? I don't know, it'd be kind of funny if that's what this was, but... nah. Yeah, nah, this is NetEase.
World premiere.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be 2 hours. Or most likely 2 hours. So that means we're about 50 minutes in. Still plenty to come. So we've seen Fable, we've seen a bunch of the Bethesda stuff, we've seen a bunch of the Blizzard stuff. We've seen technically Call of Duty, but they're gonna have the big Call of Duty Direct at the end. They have not shown off any of that gear stuff that's been talked about. Is it too soon for Horizon 6? Yeah, it's probably too soon for Horizon 6.
No matter what it takes. And no matter how hard it
Because, of course, they're working on Fable. So Fable is probably going to come out before the next Horizon does. Horizon as in Forza Horizon, not to be confused with Sony's Horizon series, which is completely different. Although we do have that new Lego game that was announced at the Summer Games Fest event, which is a game that I think no one would have ever expected to exist if it wasn't for the fact that it was leaked beforehand. It's also coming out on the Switch, which is kind of odd, but then again, Lego games, you know, I guess maybe that was something that Lego wanted, like, hey, it's a Lego game, we want to have it on at least the Switch, because, you know, Lego games sell well on Nintendo consoles or whatever, I'm guessing. I don't know. It's still odd to see a PlayStation game of any kind on a Nintendo console, but I guess it's not as weird as it being on Xbox. It's not on Xbox. The Lego game is not coming to Xbox, but...
My mixtapes bend others to my will. It's a strange, almost cosmic talent.
Go back to a time where summers lasted forever, when friendships were unbreakable, and any trouble was good trouble.
This year, I want to ride a flaming stallion.
of delinquency.
Yes!
What's your name again?
From Beethoven and Dinosaur comes an adventure a lifetime in the making. Experience the freedom of the teenage wasteland, sneaking out, making out, avoiding the law, and maybe something a little more.
Hey, can I stand up?
Yeah, little Rockford, go nuts!
Set to the soundtrack of a generation.
I don't know what most of those are. I don't listen to real music for the most part. So if there's a band that isn't like something that everyone immediately knows, then I probably don't know it.
You're invited to go back in mixtape.
There have been noise complaints.
Okay.
I just realized that whenever they show the PC logo, it's not that blocky PC logo that we're also used to seeing. They use like a different PC logo. Oh, Flight Sim 2024. So is this game like a new Flight Sim, or is this just like an update to the existing one? Because it sure looks like an update to the existing one. I mean, not that we need a new Flight Sim. Obviously, Flight Sim 2020 wasn't that long ago. They're adding a bunch of new stuff to this, apparently. I have played some Flight Sim, but I am not good at it at all. I have no idea how to control in that game. It's far beyond my... Like, I'm used to, like, you know, GTA plane controls and stuff like that. So, like, trying to play that game, it's a big step up from that, obviously. I should probably give it a shot again, but it takes up a lot of space, right? So much data that it has to store, plus the fact that it streams in so much stuff with Azure. It's a cool game, though. Although it's less of a game and more of a simulator, hence the name, but still, it's pretty cool. Just not really the thing for me, personally. Plus, you know, if you really want to experience this, you know, you gotta have the setup with the screens and the keyboard and the wheel, or, no, not the wheel, but, you know, the flight stick. You gotta have all of that if you really want the full experience. All I have is just a controller and a keyboard and mouse, like everyone else. So yeah, Flight Sim 2024. So I think that's a new game, or at least a really big update to the existing one. Okay, now is this going to be the Fallout 3 remaster? No, it's not. No, we're not going to see Elder Scrolls 6. It's a bit too soon for that, I think. We're not seeing that until, like, next year at the earliest. Starfield is still a bit too new, I think, for them to want to show off Elder Scrolls 6. You know, we actually haven't seen that many third-party games, all things considered. It's been a pretty good balance, I think, between first-party and third-party, which is something that I feel like directs tend to suffer from in recent years, where it feels like most of the directs are like third-party and indies, and then there's like a handful of like actual first-party games just sprinkled through. I get that they can't always have something to show off, but, you know, we tune into Nintendo Directs for, you know, Nintendo stuff. So, you know, like, I know it's a bit of a meme, the whole, like, farming simulators and indie games thing, and it's not obviously that blatant most of the time, but I get why people say it.
I swore I'd never use my power again.
Okay.
But 2 nights
Wait, this is probably... Yeah, I was gonna say, this is totally, Wait.
I found my friend's body in the woods.
Is this what I think it is? Is this... No, I don't think it's the same developer. I thought it was at first.
Or who trusts me. But my friend Safi is dead.
Never mind, it is. Okay, I saw the developer and I'm like, is that the Life is Strange developer? I wasn't entirely sure. I thought they were called something else.
Focusing my power, I somehow
So yeah, no, this is Life is Strange.
into a parallel timeline. Here, Safi is still alive, but danger stalks our every step. And only I can investigate both realities.
Hang on. Parallel world?
It's the same as this one, except you're dead. I can still save Safi. If I can solve and prevent the same murder across 2 timelines.
Maybe they renamed the developer or something, because I swear they were called something different. Wolfenstein. Wait, no, no. I saw Machine Games and I thought Wolfenstein, but then I remembered, wait, no, they're making the Indiana Jones game that we saw earlier this year.
What are you going to do, Indiana?
These artifacts have a deep connection to something in the past. Boss believes they hold a kind of power. Discovery that
I
can
hope this is good. Machine Games has a good track record so far.
What are you doing out there?
Fresh air.
I'll make a prediction right now though. I guarantee you, no matter what, this game is going to be better received than the Dial of Destiny was. I did see the Dial of Destiny when it came out last year. It was alright, I suppose. The best part was definitely the part at the beginning though, like on the train. That was definitely the best part by far. The rest of the movie was kind of like, eh, it was alright, I guess. I don't know if it's the bastardization of the franchise that I think people make it out to be, but then again, I'm not an Indiana Jones person, so I don't really have enough of a attachment to it to really care one way or another too strongly. To me, it was just kind of a movie. The best part being at the beginning, and everything after that being kind of just, you know, alright, I guess. But I guarantee you this will be better received than that was. I guarantee you that, for sure. Which I know is not a high bar, but still.
What was that?
We'd better hide. Ciao.
Hands behind your head.
It's a 60 FPS trailer just like it was last time.
What's stone?
Have you ever heard of who and
Isn't it Troy Baker who's doing the voice of Indiana Jones in this? They did get Harrison Ford's likeness though, so he looks like Indiana Jones, even if it's obviously not Harrison Ford doing the voice. Unlike the Avengers game from a few years ago that everyone has already forgot existed because that's how much it bombed, where they got like MCU lookalikes that were clearly supposed to be the MCU characters, but they couldn't, but they clearly weren't. Like they were clearly supposed to be essentially the MCU versions of those characters, but they obviously couldn't get the rights to it, so they're like these weird knockoff versions. This game does not have that issue because they got Harrison Ford's likeness. So even though it's not him doing the voice, it looks like Harrison Ford, therefore it looks like Indiana Jones. I don't think we have a release date for this yet. I mean, we know it's this year, but we don't have like a, you know, October or whatever yet.
Please wait.
Give me the stone.
Gina.
We gotta get out of here. Help me!
The stone! The stone!
Gina! Halten Sie auf! Erschieß sie!
We're definitely gonna get a release date of like October or November or whatever for this. I keep thinking October, November because I feel like everything must come out during that time frame, but that's obviously not true. It can come out in September for all we know. Or August, even. But probably not August, it'd probably be September at the earliest. Yeah, hopefully this is good though. I can't time it right, clearly, with the trailer. Just 2024 still? Really? We don't get a date for this thing? It's coming out later this year. We should totally get like an October or September or whatever. Just like, even if it's not a day, just give us a month. Some kind of like Gundam thing. It's probably not literally Gundam, it's just that's what I think of when I see designs like that. There was a game at the Summer Games Fest that also looked like a Gundam game, even though it's not Gundam, it's like a new IP or something. So we've seen a good amount of their first party stuff so far. Obviously there's going to be more. Again, we still haven't seen whether it's the Gears collection or Gears 6. We haven't seen Gears in a while, so it's probably about time that shows up again. I doubt, yeah, there's probably not going to be anything. Actually, what about a new Forza update? Like for Forza Motorsport, which came out last year. And the new update for that would make sense to be here.
Until someone comes to slay you. The first signs are really subtle. But over time, it becomes clear. The gift changes you, slowly consuming every little part of your humanity.
Yeah, I was saying earlier how like it'd be cool if we could see FF7 Part 1 finally come to Xbox, because of course it came out on PS4 in 2020, but then the PS5 version with the Yuffie DLC came out in 2021, and then later that year we got the Epic Games Store version on PC, and then a year later we got the Steam version, and then now we have Rebirth on PS5. You know, you'd think that they'd put Part 1 on Xbox already. I know that there's apparently some contract or deal with Sony or something that people have talked about, but I don't know. Really feels like it should be on. It really should just be on. Part 1 should be on Xbox already. Like, it's been more than long enough. Are we gonna see Everwild? Because we did see Perfect Dark, so we might.
Your emperor has chosen you as our envoy to the living.
Okay, obviously, this is not that.
That wild frontier.
Avowed. This is Avowed. Totally. Avowed is a game that had interest when it was first announced in 2020 because it was supposed to be Microsoft's Elder Scrolls. And then Microsoft bought Elder Scrolls with Bethesda, so now they don't really need an Elder Scrolls competitor anymore. And then they changed it to be like more stylized and less realistic, like the original trailer, and because of that people were kind of like not as interested.
They both deceive you. There is more
But again, we'll see what happens.
than eyes alone can see. You must open yourself to its mysteries. Tend to its purpose, no matter how wild.
60 FPS though. Most of the games we've seen so far have been 60 FPS. I think there was like one game that was 30. What game was it? I think it was Fable. The Fable, like, it wasn't really gameplay, but like the in-game whatever they called it. I think that was 30 FPS, but everything else has been 60 so far in terms of first party, to my knowledge, unless I have missed something. And of course, I'm only counting gameplay, not like in the cinematic or whatever, because obviously it's cinematic, so not going to be 60. Did they say October? I think they said October for that one. I was kind of half paying attention to the screen right there.
World premiere.
Rebellion. I think these are the guys behind the Sniper Elite games. Is this Sniper Elite? I don't know. I don't think it is. Or maybe it's a spin-off. I don't know. Anyways, I'll be right back.
Did your father ever tell you why my bones ache in the weather? War. Their soldiers killed.
Alrighty, I'm back. I'm sorry, I might have missed something. I had to go get food. Okay, clearly now we're on a different game, so I don't know if that was Sniper Elite whatever, or if that was a completely different game, but that Rebellion, they're the guys that do Sniper Elite, I'm pretty sure, so. I don't know what game that was, I missed it, but, anyways. Obviously we're on some, like, ninja-themed game now.
Vengeance is a lonely path now, eh? Believe me, there are other ways to heal.
Wait, is this, Wait, no, this is the Assassin's Creed. This is Assassin's Creed, Shadows, I think? That was, controversial when it was announced. For various reasons, like the characters and stuff. I don't know. I don't play Assassin's Creed, so I'm kind of out of it when it comes to this. I just know that there was controversy when this was first announced because of the characters and stuff like that.
Better together.
There is no honor in preying on the weak.
Together, we will bring justice back to the people.
I'm surprised that's not just as a... I'm surprised they didn't save that for the Ubisoft show. It's happening. Oh, this is, I know what this is. This is that game that's made by... you saw it in the corner there a second ago. This is made by, oh, I forget their name, but yeah, they're a Ukraine developer. I think it's Stalker 2, I think is the game. It was supposed to come out a while ago, but it got delayed because of the war in Ukraine, if I remember correctly.
Координати закинув. Поквапся.
Зараз час такий. Час можливостей.
Hold on a second, I just realized something. This game's not using TAA. Or at least I don't think it is, because we saw a shot there where you could clearly see Jaggies. So this might not be TAA. This might be like FXAA or something. I mean, I guess it could be MSAA, but MSAA is pretty rare in games these days. The most recent big game I could think of that used MSAA was Forza Horizon 5, which was great, because MSAA is awesome. I know why it's not used anymore. There are very legitimate reasons why it's not used anymore, the way games are rendered these days. But whenever a game uses MSAA, it's really cool, though, because MSAA is my favorite. It's so crisp.
We've been honored to partner with GSC.
So there's Sarah Bond. We haven't seen her the entire show.
Stalker 2. We can't wait for you to experience their game yourselves on September 5th. Today, you've seen amazing games from creators around the world, from both our partners and our own studios. From the biggest blockbusters to original independent games. I hope you enjoy the breadth of titles coming to Xbox. In addition to all these great games, we're introducing a new all-digital Series X and expanding color and storage options across the Series X and S lineup. They'll be coming to select markets as well.
Ooh, okay, we didn't know about that one. So we knew about the white one. The white one we knew about. That was leaked a while ago. And that's not the adorably all-digital one from the FTC. That's a different one. But that white one, which is all-digital, that white one, though, we knew about that.
With our commitment to game preservation, by pushing the technical boundaries in our future hardware, and empowering.
But we didn't know about that 2 terabyte special edition, which is one that has a disk drive on it. So the disk drive model is not going away completely. So that's good. At least, hopefully, it means it's not going away.
Immediately after showcase ends, Call of Duty Black Ops 6 direct.
I think a lot of people are expecting Microsoft to be the first company to go all digital.
Before we dive into the direct, we've saved one more thing.
Okay, yeah, one more thing. World premiere. That's Red. Xbox Game Studios. Okay, Gears. Gears 6, I assume. But then again, this is like a young Marcus Phoenix. So, this might be the collection that's been rumored for forever. Okay, maybe not forever, but for a while. So they didn't announce the handheld. There were rumors of them announcing some kind of handheld. Well, that wasn't here. But they did confirm the white all-digital Series X, which again is not the same as the adorably all-digital Series X from the FTC thing. That was completely different. But we are getting I think there's a new Series S in white that's going to have 1 terabyte as well, which is actually pretty cool because I personally do not like the black Series S. I think the Series S looks much better in white than it does in black. But the white one only was 512 up until this point, so it's cool to know there's going to be a 1 terabyte version, assuming I read that correctly. I mean, I have a Series X, but I used to have a Series S, and I actually kind of want a Series S again. I really like the portability of it. The Series S has its issues, for sure, but I do like what the Series S... I do like the Series S overall. It's just... It was just cut back a bit too far, you know? If they gave it 12 gigs of RAM and maybe some more storage, I think it could have been a perfectly... I think people would be totally fine with it. But they cut back on the specs a bit too much, which is why it's been so controversial. But I like the Series S for what it is. But more storage would be nice. Okay, so E-Day. So it's not even 6. Is it like a prequel or something? Because he's younger. Okay, so now we got the Call of Duty Direct. I guess that wasn't 2 hours. I mean, it'll probably be 2 hours with this, but just the Xbox event on its own, I think, is like, was like 1 hour and 20 minutes. Then again, they showed most of their games, I guess.
Hello, welcome to Treyarch in Los Angeles, and thanks for joining us today. We're excited to share what we've been working on.
Is Vanderbilt still there?
Black Ops 6, we really want
He's like the only guy at Treyarch I actually know by name. Vanderbilt from like the Black Ops 2 days.
I've been working here for over 20 years, and I can tell you that we have something special on
The Wonderwaff.
I know that
I saw the ray gun in the background as well.
Dive into our campaign and global innovations across the entire game.
Black Ops 6, we're taking players to a new but familiar era, the early 90s. In true signature Black Ops fashion, our story builds on real history, thrusting players into a conspiracy where a shadowy force has infiltrated the highest levels of the US government, branding anyone who resists as traitors and forcing players to go rogue for the first time to fight the very machine that created them. The team has been meticulously crafting every aspect of this game to deliver the fun and attitude players expect from the Black Ops franchise.
Multiplayer is of course here and brings the Black Ops style and provides a playground for the brand new Omni movement system. New way to push beyond your limits and move like an action hero. You'll see a sneak peek of that later today. Round-based zombies is absolutely back and better than ever, and you can be sure it's full of surprises. With that, let's step into the mind-bending campaign experience we've been.
Didn't they get rid of round-based at some point? I don't know. I heard the thing they got rid of. They may have gotten rid of round-based at one point. I don't know. Either way, yeah, zombies needs to be round-based. It's not zombies if it's not round-based.
Every Call of Duty player has a favorite campaign mission. When we set out to make Black Ops 6, we were focused on delivering missions so iconic that they stick in your memory long after. We are bringing that action-packed blockbuster.
They're using Windows 10, by the way. Not that that matters. It's just I don't know.
And more options to finish each mission.
Now that they're a Microsoft studio, maybe Microsoft would want them to use Windows 11 instead. I don't know. I mean, Windows 10 is still supported for another year or so.
The game is packed with unexpected moments of Black Ops.
I mean, I'm still on Windows 10.
It's a high-octane spy thriller where you're never sure who to trust and what's real. And it is all set against the backdrop.
And I'm probably going to stick with Windows 10 until support ends next year at this point.
Wall in the end of the Cold War. The U.S. is the only remaining superpower. The Gulf War was dominating headlines everywhere, and there was a growing mistrust in government, reflected everywhere across the music, television, and pop culture of the time. When we talk about timeline,
the campaign is not being made by Treyarch, it's being made by Raven.
Directly tied to the 1986 flashbacks in Black Ops 2, the aftermath of which has left our heroes in dire circumstances.
Some you should see.
Black Ops 6 blends the rich and gritty history of previous franchise titles with bold new characters, with veteran Frank Woods as our through line in our story. In this new chapter, we see a different side of Woods following his traumatic injury at the hands of Raul Menendez. He's been pulled from the field as he adjusts to a new role within the CIA, often behind a desk or on the other end of a radio. His protege is Troy Marshall, who's been making a name for himself in the field. Marshall is a reluctant leader driven by a strong moral compass. Marshall and Woods are working with another new face in Black Ops 6, CIA handler Jane Harrow. She's a born leader, fearless and brilliant, and helps manage their relationships within the agency. Woods' ability to operate in the shadows has always been hugely valuable to the CIA, whether they want to admit it or not. And Marshall has the ability to make tough calls in the field, ones that Harrow trusts him to make. But when an operation goes wrong, Woods and Marshall are suspended and ultimately forced to go rogue. They soon realize they have to trust each other to get to the bottom of what's going on. Without any of their usual resources, they have to build their own team, recruiting two exciting new characters in Felix Newman, a technical genius, and Savati Dumas, a mysterious assassin. With the end of the Cold War, these former enemies have become new allies. And with the sudden return of notorious operative Russell Adler, who'd gone missing for months, a former ally may have become a new enemy.
For the Black Ops single-player campaign, we prioritized mission variety and unique experiences. Our goal was to offer players a wide variety of mission types, each crafted.
So one thing about Call of Duty that I find kind of interesting is the fact that there's so many studios that work on it. I mean, I guess that's not entirely surprising, considering that Call of Duty is Activision's basically only IP that matters. Yeah, people like their Crash and Spyro. Yeah, they got some other IPs buried in the works like Guitar Hero and Tony Hawk, but it's no secret that Call of Duty is like the one. Activision is pretty much the Call of Duty company 99% of the time these days. And because Call of Duty is like pretty much their only thing that matters to them, they've put a lot of. I'll give them credit. I will give them credit where it's due. They know Call of Duty is their thing, and they've put tons of resources into it. I think that having like 5 or 6 studios working on Call of Duty at the same time is a bit overkill, but at least they acknowledge that this is a franchise that warrants like a lot of like people on it. Something that a certain other popular billion-dollar franchise could use. You know? A certain franchise that makes more money than this franchise does in merchandising and stuff like that alone, probably. Never mind the games themselves. And yet only has 1 developer working on it, as opposed to like 5. And they have been struggling to put out stuff correctly over the last couple of games. I'm not going to say which developer and which game franchise I'm talking about, because it should be blatantly obvious which franchise and game developer I am talking about. I'm not saying that this franchise needs 5 developers. It doesn't. But like maybe like a support studio would be nice. Like a genuine support studio would be helpful. I don't know, something. Just do something. They clearly need more help. Don't go overkill. Yeah, don't give them like 5 studios like Call of Duty does. It's not that. They don't need that. They don't need that much, but they definitely can use a support studio at the very least.
Disruptor.
The campaign is grounded within an expanded campaign hub called the Safe House. You might remember we also
remember years ago when they were talking about boots on the ground? Because in Advanced Warfare, you know, introduced the exosuit. I actually liked Advanced Warfare. Like, genuinely, back in the day, I actually liked Advanced Warfare. I didn't like it as much as Black Ops 2. Black Ops 2 was and probably will always be my favorite, but I liked Advanced Warfare. I liked Exo Zombies, I liked the multiplayer. I even liked the campaign. And I don't really play the campaigns, but I liked it. Probably the most iconic thing about Advanced Warfare is, so you know the press F to pay respects thing? That's from Advanced Warfare. That's from like the PC version of Advanced Warfare. When they have that funeral scene, that's where it came from. Because on the PC version, it says press F to pay respects. That's where the meme came from. It came from Advanced Warfare, funny enough.
That was sick.
Probably the other notable thing Advanced Warfare has is, of course, it has Kevin Spacey in it. Which, you know, didn't age great for them, but they didn't know that at the time. But that was something that I remember was a big deal when the game first came out, was that Kevin Spacey was in it. And I have no idea what the current state of Kevin Spacey is. Obviously, there was all the stuff that happened in 2017, and then apparently there's been talk of him coming back to acting or something. I don't know. I don't follow any of that stuff. I don't know. But yeah, so Kevin Spacey and
players can sprint in any direction and move like a true Black Ops action hero with an entirely new global system.
Okay, that's kind of that's new, for sure. Being able to run in any direction. But yeah, so the press F to pay respects from the PC version, and then the Kevin Spacey being in it were probably the 2 most notable things that came out of Advanced Warfare. Also, speaking of Kevin Spacey, there's actually a line in the game where Kevin Spacey, like Atlas, I think is the name of the company, like Atlas, not Atlus, as in like Persona and SMT, but like Atlas with an A, not a U. They're the company that makes all of like the Exo stuff in that campaign or whatever. Well, there's a scene where he literally is sitting in his little truck or whatever, and he turns around and looks at you and says, "This is Advanced Warfare." Yeah.
Changes how you think and play the game, whether it's campaign,
you know, and it's like, he said it. He said it. I don't know if that's a thing in any of the other games. Like, is there a game where, like, Price says this is Modern Warfare or whatever? I don't know if that's a thing. Maybe it is. But I know that Kevin Spacey does say this is Advanced Warfare in the Advanced Warfare campaign.
How many buttons or keys you're pressing to perform various movements. These can be enabled in player options, and they're broken down into 3 categories: sprint assist, mantle assist, and crouch assist.
So I can see that the menu UI is the same as it was for the last couple of games.
Really started with this idea that we want all players.
Obviously, it's got the Black Ops, like, orange aesthetic, but the actual interface itself is the same as, like, Modern Warfare 2 and 3.
Or input or experience with Call of Duty to be able to engage with Omni movement and live out their own action hero fantasy in Black Ops 6.
Did you know this game is still going to be coming out on PS4 and Xbox One?
That can be turned on and off. Things like traction control,
We are
assisted braking, and we really love
we're 3.5 years into the generation, and we're still getting major games coming out on PS4 and Xbox One. And normally I'd call that weird and surprising, but honestly at this point it really doesn't, because the fact of the matter is, the gulf between the PS4 and Xbox One and the PS5 and the Series X, while big, is not so big that it makes porting these games, like, impossible. This isn't like what happened with GTA 5 and Advanced Warfare, where they stopped adding things after a certain point because of the 512 megabyte RAM limit. Like 8 gigs of RAM is not a lot of RAM these days, but it's still enough that they can make these games work, you know, and not, like, cut anything. That combined with the whole fact that it's x86 across everything, like, you know, porting stuff to the PS4 and Xbox One is not the challenge it was porting, you know, PS4 and Xbox One games to the PS3 and 360, where they, like, really struggled. It's not that bad, you know. So that's why we've seen games just continue to come out on these consoles. It's because it's not as difficult as it was with the last time around, because the x86 and the 8 gigs of RAM.
Our team is super thrilled to show
Like, if it had 4 gigs of RAM, like if the PS4 and Xbox One had 4 gigs of RAM, oh yeah, no way. But 8 gigs of RAM, they can still make it work. I know there's more to it than RAM, but but I know that was a big thing with GTA 5 and, like, Advanced Warfare near the end, where, like, some of those, like, later generation, like, PS3 360 games, like, they stopped getting content updates on last gen because of the RAM limitation being such a limitation, you know, like 256 megs on the PS3 and like 512 megs on the 360. Like, it was brutal. It was impressive what Rockstar was able to pull off with GTA 5 on the 360. It really is.
The thing that I'm most excited about is the number of new weapons from the era that we've added, which includes many that are brand.
So are you talking about the multiplayer now? I'm not sure. I'm kind of like half paying attention.
And they operate outside the normal playbook. That means they're
The main thing I want to see is what they're going to do with zombies, because that's the mode I think I care about the most.
Weapons. We made sure to deliver dozens of unique attachments for every gun, and this allows the players to create a weapon to match any playstyle that you can imagine, all while maintaining the feel and tone of the era.
In Black Ops 6, we really strive for striking that balance between real and hyper-real, but we want to ground our effects.
Oh, it's kind of cool.
We find real world.
They're showing us, like, test maps.
Motion, the weight, the timing. Then
Right, that was just a wall. That was just like one texture on the wall right there.
from Call of Duty.
Now, of course, will
Black Ops 6 user experience is all about focusing players on what they need when they need it, and our in-game HUD is no different. From the mini-map to the ammo widget to in-game notifications, the Black Ops 6 HUD combines some of our best designs in a clean, streamlined experience.
So the UI looks similar to Cold Wars, which I guess isn't surprising, because that was the last game that Treyarch made.
Streamers can choose a layout optimized for their setup, or maybe you want your HUD centered so you don't have to look away. Want to play hardcore anywhere, or finally put the mini-map in the bottom left? Those are options as well.
Okay, that's kind of cool that you can move the UI
Not only
around.
does the HUD give players important status, it connects them to the world, and helps them feel rewarded.
Anyways, now, obviously, will PS4 and Xbox One be ditched at some point? Yes, obviously they will. But the fact that it's x86 and the gulf isn't as big as it was in the past, I think that's definitely that, and of course the fact that the PS4 and Xbox One were famously like unobtainium for the first like year or two, you know. It's combined, you know, and the pandemic and the shortage, like all of that stuff. There's so many factors that have combined into making the that have combined into making, you know, the PS4 and Xbox One just stick around longer. Because I mean, if you look at Black Ops 3 on like PS4 and then Black Ops 3 on PS3, like it's a huge difference. It looks so much worse on the 360 and PS3. Like, I remember at the time being excited that it was coming out on the PS3 and 360 because I didn't have an Xbox One yet. But, like, man, that version did not turn out good. And I ended up getting an Xbox One that year anyway, so it didn't really end up mattering. But I remember, yeah, like, man, yeah, those late generation 360 PS3 games, some of them did not turn out great. GTA 5 was probably the last one that, like, came out fairly. Advanced Warfare was okay. It didn't look as good as the PS4 and Xbox One version for sure, but it was still, like, a solid 60 FPS, and it still looked okay, all things considered. Even though the PS4 and Xbox One version definitely look a lot better. But man, Black Ops 3, though, on PS3 and 360, they had like they fitted on there, but oh boy, they barely fitted on there. It's pretty bad on PS3 and 360. I never played those versions myself, obviously, but I've seen clips and they are not great. They didn't even get all the DLC. They got like the first DLC pack, I think, and that was about it.
For now, here's some insight into our development of Black Ops 6 multiplayer. Our vision since day one has been to craft an approachable and engaging step change of that signature Black Ops multiplayer experience. We focused on supporting 3 core playstyles for launch. Enforcers are the slayers who like to kill and stay on the move. Recon is all about intel and counter-intel play. And strategists are support players who throw their bodies at objectives for the win or focus on taking out enemy score streaks for the team. All of our weapons, gear, and gadgets in multiplayer have been intentionally designed through that lens of supporting these play styles. And of course, it wouldn't be a Black Ops game if you can't relive those action hero moments in theater mode, which we're happy to announce is returning with Black Ops 6. Now I said we're only getting a taste of MP today, but of course that means you're going to get some early details on maps.
We're happy to announce that we will be launching with 16 all-new MP maps. We've got 12 core.
16's pretty good for launch.
Strike maps, which can be played as 6v6 or 2v2. What do players like? What do we know that they want?
Are we getting any old maps back? Because they always have old maps. They always have at least a few old maps remade or remastered.
Like better for hardcore pacing to keep the action flowing, but still.
But I think they've brought back like most of the classic maps people would want a couple of times though.
And we have multiplayer taking place after the campaign, after you finish it. So don't want to get into too many spoilers there, but you'll experience some of those locations through the multiplayer lens.
Well, that's something they've done for a long time though. Like having like the launch maps be like based on the campaign to some extent.
Just one more thing.
Zombies. Hey, the classic jingle.
Ground-based Zombies is back, and we're picking up the Dark Aether storyline where we left it.
Brand
new maps available at launch with a curated mix of fan favorite features.
Used to play the crap out of zombies back in the day in like Black Ops 2 and Advanced Warfare.
Cooperative horde mode, where every map is packed full of powerful weapons and upgrades, deadly enemies, and tons of secrets to uncover. The legacy of Zombies is incredibly important to Treyarch, and we are so proud of what the mode is bringing to players in Black Ops 6. As you've heard today,
it's weird that they're calling it Black Ops 6, by the way. I know why. It's because Cold War was 5. But it's still weird.
Zombie-specific features, both new and returning. This is going to be a truly epic return for round-based Zombies. Be on the lookout for more intel coming later this year.
Steph interviewed AB. Mark?
Now we know we only gave you a little taste of multiplayer here today, so make sure to mark your calendars for our worldwide multiplayer reveal event at Call of Duty Next on August 28th. Make sure to stay tuned for details and watch your favorite streamers get hands-on Black Ops 6 so you can be prepped and ready to
All using Xbox controllers, of course.
Omni movement for yourself. We'll be sharing
Honestly, I don't think they would probably even care that much at this point, whether or not they use Xbox controllers or not. But of course, they're gonna show Xbox controllers.
And it's not just about launch, because the team is already focused on delivering a ton of content in the live seasons, which we'll be sharing more about. Am I allowed to talk about Warzone yet?
Our goal on Black Ops 6 was, and still is, to make something that is...
Oh yeah, because there's gonna be a Warzone update, right? There has to be. Even the Warzone is an Infinity Ward-like thing. That's not like Treyarch, but...
repeatedly asked how something could be better. In some cases, that led us to huge innovations like Omni Movement, but we're now allowing players to move how real people and operators move. In other cases, it led us back to some of our classic systems like Prestige, then taking that classic system through the ringer and making updates and improvements across our weapons, gear.
But yeah, so like, yeah, comparing like, I mean like, because like if you play, I mean, again, I haven't seen it myself, but like if you compared like Modern Warfare 3, since that's the current game, Modern Warfare 3 on like PS4 versus PS5, they're gonna look pretty similar. You know, lower resolution, less stable frame rate, but they're gonna look like the same game, generally speaking. As opposed to Black Ops 3 on 360 and PS3 versus PS4 and Xbox One, where there was a huge graphical difference. That was very obvious to anyone with eyeballs, you know, but the differences are a lot smaller now. Again, they look better, for sure, on newer consoles, obviously, and that's great, but it's not that gargantuan leap that it used to be, even just a generation before. Like, I'm sure Black Ops 6 will look fine on PS4. Xbox One is kind of getting the rough end of the stick for a while, honestly, in terms of performance in these kind of games, but I think the base PS4 will probably perform okay in this game still. And of course, since this is going to be on Game Pass, I mean, everyone's just going to be able to play it, right? I haven't bought a Call of Duty game in a long time. Oh, Gobblegum is coming back. They showed Gobblegum in the corner. I actually really liked Gobblegum in a Black Ops 3. I thought that was a really cool mechanic, personally. I know not everyone was a fan of it, and I get why, but I thought it was pretty cool. So it's cool that's coming back, because that was only in 3. That wasn't in 4 or Cold War, I think. I think they showed off most of their first-party games. Except for Everwild. Everwild wasn't here, but they had Fable, they had Perfect Dark, they had Gears. Obviously, there's not going to be a new Halo thing anytime soon. It would have been cool to see Forza Horizon 6, but it's probably a bit too soon for that. We're not going to get that until Fable is out the door. Or at least close to being out the door, I imagine. Even though they're probably being made by 2 different teams. Alrighty then. So that was the Xbox Games Showcase 2024 and that Call of Duty Direct. Alrighty then. So let's go ahead and mute that. Now, before we go, I mean, I don't have to go, obviously. We can stream for as long as we want. But let's go ahead and see if I can find. Let's look at that white Series X. I want to look at the white Series X real quick. Okay, here we go. So we got the Verge. Let's go ahead and zoom that sucker in so you can actually see it. Okay, Microsoft announces a diskless Xbox Series X in white, and there's the 2 terabyte Series X with like a green star pattern and a green bottom, and it has a disk drive. But this one does not. Oh yeah, what's the price tag? That's kind of what's the price tag? Okay, so the 1 terabyte in white that's all digital is going to be $449, which is cheaper than the $500 of the current disc version. So it is cheaper, as opposed to the adorably all digital Series X from the FTC leak that was supposed to be $500 still, and take away the disk drive. So at least it costs less. I know people don't want the disk drive to go away. I don't want it to go away either. I like my physical media, believe me, but at least it's cheaper. And there's still going to be a version of the console that has a disk drive on it, because they have this special edition. But then again, it's a special edition, so it might not be around for too long. But it does look like that the FTC leak did not end up happening. I know that Phil Spencer. So of course, when the FTC leak came out, and there was the adorably all digital Series X, so that was like a cylinder instead of a rectangle and stuff like that. Like, people lost their minds. They were like, "Oh my God, how dare they get rid of this drive?" Yada yada yada. And then Phil Spencer said, "Hey, these are from 2020. Our plans have changed since then." And of course, people were like, "How true is that?" Whatever. Well, for what it's worth, he was correct. I know people have crapped on Phil Spencer a lot this year, but he was correct when he said that FTC thing wasn't happening anymore, or that plans had changed, because that FTC stuff would have come out this year, but it's not coming out. This is coming out instead. So that whole cylindrical redesign thing, they're not doing that. They're doing this instead. So we're still getting an all digital Series X, but not in the way that they said they were going to do in that leak. Plus, that leak said it was going to be $500, and this one is $449. Now, is that a massive is that $400 like the PS5 digital edition is? No. But it does have more storage, because the PS5 all digital is still, I think, $825. So it at least has more storage than the PS5 digital edition, for what that's worth. But yeah, so we have a new Series S with a terabyte in it. It's gonna be for $349, so that's $50 over the current launch price. And then how much is that 2 terabyte version? Do we not have a thing for that? It's gonna be $600. It's got 2 terabytes, fair enough. It's also supposed to be a special. It actually does look kind of cool though. Of course, I already have a perfectly good 1 terabyte Series X already, so I'm obviously not in any rush to buy another one. But yeah, so that refresh, the cylindrical refresh from the leak is not happening. Or if it is happening, it's not happening this year. It's next year. Yeah. So yeah, the FTC thing didn't end up actually happening. I assume the comments for this are not going to be great. So much for the handheld announcement. So yeah, people are talking about a handheld announcement. Didn't happen. Personally, I'm not bit into the handheld stuff. Obviously, handheld PCs have become really big over the last few years with the Steam Deck and the ROG Ally, and there's the Legion Go, then there was the recent MSI Claw thing that bombed. But there's a ton, and Zotac is apparently making one. Like, everyone and their dog is making a handheld PC now, so it makes sense that Microsoft would want to get in on that. But we haven't. But if it does exist, it wasn't here, so maybe we'll see it later this year or next year, but I don't know. Personally, I'm not into the handheld stuff. I mean, I don't even use my Switch on the go most of the time, so I have no use for a Steam Deck or an ROG Ally or anything like that, personally. Is it cool that it exists? Absolutely. Do I personally care about it? Not really. I mean, the next Nintendo console could just be a regular home console again, and I'd be totally fine with that. I don't need a hybrid. The hybrid stuff is cool. A lot of people like it, but personally, I would be perfectly fine if the next Nintendo console was just a regular console, not a hybrid. But obviously, the next console is going to be the Switch 2, obviously. I'd rather have a Series S with a disc drive. That would be... So I have 2 complaints with the Series S. And let me remind you, I like the Series S, even with its faults. But the 2 complaints I have with the Series S are the 10 gigs of RAM versus 12, which is why I'm really, really, really hoping that the Switch 2 has 12. It would be such a dang shame if it was 8. Please, 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 Nintendo, do not saddle the Switch 2 with 8 gigs of RAM. That is going to age horribly in the long term. It will be fine at first. It will be a problem later on. You need all the power you can get. Put 12 gigs of RAM in that thing. I mean, 16 would be ideal, obviously, to match the PS5 and Series X. But even just 12, I think, would be enough. Because that'd be more than the Series S. But please, please, please do not settle it with 8 gigs. The most recent rumor was that it's going to be 12. I sure as hell hope it's going to be 12. But obviously, that's a whole other conversation for another video whenever I finally get around to actually, recording it. Anyways. Yeah, so, there is still going to be... Now, are they going to be phasing out the current Series X, or are these just going to be companions to it? Because that FTC leak with the cylindrical design, that was going to phase out the existing model, but because they're not doing that anymore and they're doing this, and these are obviously the current rectangular boxy design, that might mean that the current 1 terabyte Series X with the disk drive is not going anywhere. So now you'll have 4 different options. You'll have the Series S 1 terabyte, you'll have the Series S 500 gig, you'll have the Series X all digital in white, you'll have the Series X regular 1 terabyte with a disk drive, then you'll have the Series X 2 terabyte. You're going to have like 5 or 6 different options. On paper. Again, we don't know if they're going to be getting rid of the original 1 terabyte one. Hopefully they don't. But obviously we'll see. But all indications have been pointing to them moving away from physical media. Like, I fully believe they're going to be the first to go all digital of the 3. I think Microsoft is going to go all digital first, then Sony after them, and then, like, way later, Nintendo maybe, like, way down the line. I think they're going to hold on to physical media the longest because... the Nintendo community absolutely loves physical games, myself included, so I think they're going to hold on to physical media longer than everyone else, especially because they have the hybrid thing with the small cartridges anyway, so they probably want to keep it around anyway. But of course, is there a possibility that Nintendo goes all digital at some point? Absolutely. I just don't think it's going to be happening for at least a few more generations at the bare minimum. I think they're going to hold on to physical media the longest of the big 3, but that's a whole other conversation for another time anyway. But yeah, so there is going to be new Series X consoles, but it's not going to be the refresh from the leak. They're going to be different. But yeah, I mean, is the white one worth it? I personally don't think it is. I mean, $449 is not cheaper by enough to justify giving up the disk drive. So here's what I would do. I would go on eBay and buy a used Series X with the disk drive right now for probably less than that. You can probably get one for like $400, maybe even less than that. Remember, the consoles are almost 4 years old, so the idea of them being, $400, $300 something even is not crazy. In fact, let's go ahead and look. Let's see. I'm not going to show it on screen because I'm worried I'm going to show like something important. But I see some for $300. I see, okay, Microsoft is selling refurbished Series X's for $400 from Microsoft directly on eBay. I see some, okay, another one for 300, 360, 325, 340, 349 for the black one Series S. Okay, so yeah, personally, I don't think that white all digital Series X is worth it when you can buy the current black one with the same storage for less and get the disk drive. So I'd rather just do that. But the white color does look nice. It does look nice. I think it looks better on the Series S, but it still looks nice. But yeah, I would definitely recommend, if you're interested in a Series X and you don't have one at this point, definitely go on like eBay and just buy one there, whether it's from Microsoft directly for $400 and you get the disk drive, or you buy it just used in general. I think that's definitely a much better deal compared to this white one at $449 for sure. If it was $400, maybe it'd be then maybe, but $449, it's too close to the price of the current one to be worth it, both new and used. Wow, that handheld looks awesome. Yeah, people are talking about the whole fact there's no handheld. Again, handheld's not really my thing. But I mean, if it's coming, we'll obviously see it at some point. We're just gonna have to wait and see, of course. Yeah, so yeah, I guess that's kind of it. I don't really have much else to say. Man, this is so, look how small everything is. This is one of the downsides. Look, I love my 4K monitor, but this is one of the downsides of 4K, is that not every website is designed for a 4K screen. It's like, look how small everything is. Because yeah, I have it set to 100%. But yeah, look how small everything is. You gotta zoom in if you want to actually see anything. So yeah, we got so yeah, oh yeah, what was the game they showed off? I think it was this one, right? Atomfall. I think that was the game I missed because I had to get food. So we got, so how many first party games did we get in this? We got okay, so yeah, Black Ops 6. Okay, we got Doom the Dark Ages, State of Decay 3, Starfield DLC, Fallout 76 stuff, World of Warcraft, Age of Mythology, Perfect Dark got a trailer, got a new trailer. I'm not sure what the reception of that is going to be. It's probably going to be divisive, I imagine, like Fable, and of course we saw Fable. Diablo, Indiana Jones, Avowed. Yeah, Gears of War E-Day. Wonder why they're not just calling it 6. Is it like a prequel? Is that why? I don't know. Like what like is, or are they just not doing the name thing anymore? Okay, it's a prequel. It's a prequel. Origin story. That's not really surprising, I suppose. I mean, after all, I mean, that was clearly a younger Marcus Phoenix. Oh, it even says right here, prequel in the tags. Xbox One. It's definitely not on Xbox One, but I don't know. It's probably just a tag thing. Yeah, Series X, Coalition. Gears 6 is a tag, even though it's not Gears 6. UE5, of course. That's something I know people are looking forward to. I know the guys at Digital Foundry are probably really excited to see what the Coalition does with Unreal Engine 5, because they've been pretty good with Unreal Engine, and Gears of War has always been an Unreal Engine showcase. I mean, after all, the first 3 games were made by Epic themselves, after all, before they moved over to the Coalition with the Xbox One generation. But yeah, I'd say that was a pretty decent showcase. They showed off pretty much all the things you would expect them to show off. No big surprises, I would say, though. I guess if you know, for the people out there that were really hoping to see, well, I don't know, Banjo, whatever. People have been wanting to see that for forever, and it just has never happened. I think people should probably like give up on that. I'm not saying we'll never get a new Banjo game. I think we absolutely will. It's just like, it's not happening anytime soon. So I don't know. But I know people out there, you know, there are people out there that, you know, clinging to hope that there'll be a new Banjo or something. I don't know. But we didn't really get any big surprises, I would say. It's mostly stuff that we'd already known about, and then like one or two new stuff. The big one being, of course, the new Gears of War thing, which was to be expected because it's been a while since Gears 5. Gears 5 came out in 2019, I think. Was it 2018? I think it was 2019. 2019 is when it came out. So it was about time we saw a new Gears of any kind. That rumored, the rumored Gears collection was not here. The rumored Halo thing for PS5 was obviously not here. No Halo at all, which is actually a little surprising because even though obviously Infinite has been out for a while, they've tended to post like, hey, new update, new season. Nothing for Halo Infinite. It's a little surprising because it's still getting updates. And it is Halo. It is their flagship franchise, but I don't know. Nothing on Forza either. I mean, I knew that Horizon 6 was not going to be here, but like it's again weird that they didn't have any updates for Forza Motorsport 2023 in here. It's a little surprising, but I don't know. I'd say it was a pretty I think it was a decent showcase. I mean, it would have been nice to see Persona 6, I suppose, but I knew that wasn't going to be here. I knew it wasn't going to be here. They're focusing on Metaphor, and they got the answer coming out, and they got SMT Vengeance. Like they got enough stuff. Atlas has got enough stuff for the rest of the year. They're not going to talk about Persona 6 until all of that stuff is out the door. So we're not going to hear about that until like the Xbox showcase next year at the earliest, realistically. But yeah, so I guess that's pretty much that. Apologies for the kind of slapdash kind of throwing this together at the last second kind of thing with this. Yeah, but I did fix the thumbnail, so the thumbnail should now be correct and doesn't have those ugly white borders or anything. So now that should be correct. And yeah, I need to work on my stream stuff a bit. I have some new music I want to incorporate. I've talked about this for a little bit. I'm retiring the Persona music that I've been using for the last couple of years. I want to have some new music. I want to make some new playlists that I can swap between. Like I want to have like a Pokemon playlist and like a YouTube audio library playlist and a bunch of other things I want to do with that to kind of refreshen the streams to some extent. But that's obviously something I'm going to have to work on off stream, obviously, and get that all set up. But yeah, so I guess that's it. To anyone that watched this live or after the fact, thank you for watching. Sorry I couldn't do the Summer Games Fest thing a couple days ago, but again, we were on our way home from the trip, so I couldn't. But yeah, and for those of you that are just now tuning in for some reason or have made it this far and weren't here at the very beginning or whatever, just a last little update on exactly what happened with that trip. So just to completely, hold on, let me move this over here real quick. I just want to go ahead and get this out of the way, the whole trip thing, and just 100% just get that nailed down. I know I've already talked about it a little bit, but I figured I may as well just kind of clarify 100% what happened with that. So let's go to the community page really quickly. Okay, so here's the community page. Let's go ahead and zoom in. So here's the community post I made 6 days ago. Hey everyone, I'm currently on a trip from now until the 7th, and where we are staying there is absolutely no connection whatsoever, not even basic cell services. The only reason I'm even able to send this post is because by chance the guy in the site next to us has Starlink, which was true, and kindly gave us the password, which is great. Unfortunately, he's only going to be here for the night. So the next 4 to 5 days, I'm basically off the grid, barring some time where we go to the local town, which does have internet. So, but wild chance the June Direct happens during that time. It didn't, obviously. I'm out of luck, both in terms of streaming it, which I do have the equipment to do if there was internet, and actually watching it. So yeah, I brought like a laptop and a capture card. Like I brought all the stuff I needed to do a stream if something actually happened, and if I could have. I really doubt it's going to happen this early in June. Obviously, again, it didn't happen, thankfully. But hey, you never know. At least if it does happen, I have the consolation that we already know the Switch 2 won't be there. Plus, I doubt anything substantial is left in the pipeline for the current Switch anyways. Either way, I'll see you guys when I'm back. So I posted this at night on June 2nd. And everything I said in that post was 100% true at the time. That was 100% the plan. We were going to be at that place for the next 5 days with no internet, no hookups, an annoying limitation of the campground that I don't think I mentioned, where you could only have the generator on during certain times of the day because they could only have the AC on certain times of the day. There was a lot of annoying things. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was a nice looking place. There was some cool rocks there. At night, it was really nice. It was really nice at night, looking up at the stars. Like at the nighttime, it was great. The rocks were cool. Like it was a neat little place. But the very next day after I made this post, June 3rd. So I made this post on the 2nd, the 3rd, the day after. We woke up, we ate, we went outside, we went on a walk for a little bit. We came back in, and we were all like, and the consensus was just like, this is not gonna work. Because it was hot outside. It wasn't like super hot, but it was hot outside, and it was only gonna get hotter because it was supposed to get even hotter later on that week. But yeah, so we basically went on a walk. We came back. And the consensus was basically, for a variety of reasons, this isn't going to work out. There's no way we can do this for 5 days. And so we scrapped the place we were going to be at, and we went somewhere else. And we went to the place that we went to in 2021. And that place had hookups for everything. So we had hookups for power, hookups for water. So we could do all the stuff we wanted to do, and there wasn't any limitations, which was great. There was internet there. So obviously that was great. We went into town and we got some stuff and we ate, and like, basically everything was good after that point. So basically for the last like 5 or so days, I actually did have internet. It was only that one day where we didn't really have it. Well, except we did, because of the guy that had Starlink. That was such a amazing chance, by the way, that like the guy next to us just happened to have Starlink and just happened to give us the password, which was really cool. So I'm sure the guy will never ever see this stream in a million billion trillion years. But if you were the guy on June 2nd of 2024 at that campground that was like, hey, I got Starlink, I can give you the password, thank you for doing so. That was really awesome of you. That was really, really awesome of you to do. I really appreciate that you did that for us. But I guess the long and short of it is, it all worked out. We went to a different campground we had went to before, and it was good. It was fun. It was nice to, be out for once. And look, I'm the kind of person that, I'm just going to say it, I'm the kind of person that pretty much lives in their room. And even I really appreciated, being out there, and doing something different for once, And the town we went to, it was a nice little town. They have some good stuff there. Yeah, it was fun, that trip. It started off wonky with the first place. Now, I should probably say that the place we went to, that initial place that was like in the middle of the desert and had no internet and whatever, that was not the original plan. That was actually plan C. Plans A and B were 2 other places that we wanted to go to, but we couldn't because of snow in the mountains. There was too much snow in the mountains, so the campgrounds weren't open. So we were going to go to those places, but that couldn't happen. So plan C was this place in the desert, and we were there for like a day, basically, until we were like, okay, yeah, this is not going to work for 5 days. There's no way. And then we went to the place we went to in 2021, which was plan D. So the place we ended up staying for like 3 or 4 days was plan D, but it all worked out and it was fun and everything. But yeah, so that's what happened with that. So yeah, I thought about making a community post being like, hey, actually I do have internet now because we're at some other place, but I kind of figured, yeah, I'll talk about it when we do the next stream, when I come back. And well, we're at the next stream and I have now talked about it. So yes, that is what happened with the trip. It was fun. It was a nice change of pace. But no, I was not actually in the middle of nowhere for 5 days without internet. That was what was originally going to happen, but we scrapped that pretty early when it was obvious that that was not going to work out. It wasn't just the internet thing. It was also the heat and the fact there wasn't that much to do out there. Like, there was a variety of reasons why we ended up leaving that plan C place in the desert. But it was nice the night we were there. Like, the night we were there outside at night was really nice, for sure. I'm glad we were there for at least 1 day. But yeah, 5 days, that was never going to work. But yeah, so that's what happened with the trip. It all worked out in the end, but yeah, but we're back now, and that's what matters. And obviously I couldn't stream the Summer Games Fest again, apologies for that, but it is what it is. But yeah, so That's basically it. In terms of the next stream, well, Sony is not doing a PlayStation showcase. They, of course, did the State of Play not too long ago. And now Xbox has done their showcase. And Summer Games Fest already happened. So the next big one... I mean, Ubisoft is going to have an event as well, but I don't watch the Ubisoft events, really. So we're not going to stream that. Unless there's some surprise showcase we don't know about, the next one is probably going to be the Direct. Now, the Direct is not going to be happening, I think, anytime soon. I mean, we know it's going to be happening this month. It's already been confirmed, obviously, from that Furukawa tweet that was like, hey, guys, the Switch 2 is real. Stop talking to us about it. But it's probably going to be later on in the month because, of course, most June Directs have been during E3, when E3 was a thing. But now that E3 is officially dead, unfortunately, they're probably going to do what they did last year, and it's probably going to be in late June. So probably June, like, 25th or something, as opposed to June 11th, 12th, 13th, like they would normally do in years gone by, so... Yeah, but that will probably be the next stream we do. Will probably be the June Direct. So look forward to that. And that's pretty much it in terms of other stuff. I know I mentioned this in the last couple of streams, but a Switch 2 video of some kind is coming. I'm probably going to wait until that Direct is out the door first, even though we already know that the Switch 2 is not going to be there, but I still feel like I should probably just wait just to have that firmly in the rear view mirror, you know? Because, you know, for all we know, Metroid Prime 4 might be there, right? I mean, it's possible. It's possible that it's there. It is totally possible. Unlikely, but possible. But again, we can talk about that when we do the inevitable Direct predictions thing that we'll probably end up doing like we always do. But, yeah, so, stay tuned for whenever the Direct happens. We'll obviously be streaming that. I will be doing a predictions video on it most likely, and we'll be doing a Switch 2 video at some point with Ethan sometime this summer at some point, probably after the Direct, but we'll see. And that's pretty much it for me. So again, thank you all for watching. And with that being said, this is Logan59XP, and I will see you guys next time.